The story of the beggars. My dear heart, pleasant and admirable, Mr. Zalman Shazal, who, with all his heart and soul, is given over to the tzaddik, the blind beggar, who boasted, I am still completely young, and I have not yet begun to live at all, and even so I am very old, and I have an agreement on this from the great eagle, peace and life and all good. Your great, wondrous, and awesome love and strong desire to hear great, wondrous, and awesome news of the beggars has compelled me to remember you and to write to you what God puts under my hand. The place of the wedding canopy and celebration was in great pit that was covered with reeds and dirt and garbage, and the meal was from bread and meat that they had gathered from the meal at the king's celebration. And this wedding was with great, awesome, and wondrous joy, and the people were rejoicing there very, very much, and also the groom and bride were very happy, and they started to remember the kindness that God had done for them when they were in the forest, and they were crying and yearning greatly to bring here the first beggar who was blind, who had brought them bread in the forest. And immediately, while they were yearning greatly for the blind beggar, he answered and said, Here I am, behold, I have come to you for your wedding, and I give you a discourse as my wedding present, that you should be old like me, that you should live a long life like me, and you think that I am blind. I am not blind at all, just that all the time of the entire world does not count for me like a blink of an eye. Therefore, it is not relevant for me to look at and see this world at all. And I am very old, and still I am completely young, and I have not yet begun to live at all. And even so, I am very old, and I have an agreement about this from the great eagle, etc. And the matter of the elders, each of whom told an ancient tale, which he remembered from his earliest memory, meaning what he remembered from the time that he started to have a memory. The oldest one amongst them answered and said first, What can I tell you? I remember when they cut the apple from the branch, and not one of them knew what he was saying, but there were sages there, and they said, Certainly this is a very ancient tale. And they honored the second one to speak. The second one, who was not as old as the first, answered with bewilderment, That is an ancient tale. This tale I remember, but I remember also when the candle was burning. They answered and said there, This is an even older tale than the first. And it was amazing to them that this second one, who was younger than the first, remembered a tale older than the first, and they honored the third one to speak. He, who was even younger, answered and said, I remember also when they started building the fruit. This is when the fruit started to form. They answered and said, This tale is even older. The fourth one, who was still younger, answered, I remember also when they carried the seed to plant the fruit. The fifth, who was even younger, said, I remember also the sages who thought of and created the seed. The sixth answered that he remembered also the taste before it entered the fruit. The seventh answered and said that he remembered also the smell of the fruit before it entered the fruit. The eighth answered and said that he remembered also the appearance of the fruit before it was drawn to the fruit. And I also was there, and I answered and said to them, I remember all these tales, and I remember absolutely nothing. They answered and said, This is a very ancient tale, more than all of them. And it was a great novelty to them that the infant remembered more than all the others. Suddenly a great eagle came and said to them that they should live in order of their ages, that whoever was older should live first, and he removed all of them from the tower, and he removed first the infant mentioned above, for in truth he was older than all of them. And similarly, whoever was younger he removed first, and the oldest one he removed last. For whoever was younger was older, and the oldest of them all was younger than the rest. And the above great eagle said to them, I shall explain to you the tales that all the elders told. For the one who said that he remembers also when they cut the apple from the branch means that he remembers when they cut his navel and at the time of birth. And the second who said that he remembers the time when the candle was burning means that he remembers also when he was in the womb, when there was a candle burning above his head. And the one who said that he remembers also the time when the fruit began to form means that he remembers also when the body started to form, meaning at the time of the formation of the baby. And the one who remembers the time when they carried the seed to plant the fruit means that he remembers also when the drop of semen was drawn forth at the time of mating. And the one who remembers the sages who were forming the seed means that he remembers also when the drop still was in the brain, for the mind forms the drop. And the one who remembers the taste means the animal soul, and the smell means the spirit, and the appearance means the divine soul. And the infant said that he remembers absolutely nothing, for he is higher than all, and he remembers even that which comes before the animal soul, spirit, and divine soul, which is an aspect of nothingness. And he blessed them, And to me, meaning this blind beggar, who was the infant then, who was telling all this, the great eagle mentioned above said to me, "You come with me, for you are like me, for you are very old, and still you are very young, and you have not even begun to live at all, and even so you are very old. And I also am like this, for I am old, and still I am young," etc. It turns out that I have an agreement from that great eagle that I live a long life, and now I give you my long life as a wedding present. And there was very, very great and awesome happiness and joy. If you will want to look with the eye of truth, you will see from afar the wonders of God, that nothing like this has been heard or seen in all the days of the world. Our awesome teacher, Rabbi Nachman, may his memory be for a blessing, said about himself when he told the story that if the world were only to know of this story alone, it also would be a very great novel teaching. The story of the beggars includes virtually the entire figure of man, for the first was blind, the second deaf, and the third speech impaired, the fourth had a crooked neck, and the fifth was a hunchback, and the sixth was without hands, and the seventh was without feet, and really they were complete in all the above-mentioned limbs, with a great perfection beyond which there is no greater perfection, just the opposite, because of the greatly outstanding perfection of their status and level, very high and mighty and awesome, and also because of the great force of the concealment of this world. Therefore, in the eyes of the world, they appeared blind and deaf, and so on.